Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. It's that time again for another trance arpeggio. This is the DecemberTrance arpeggio. If you want to check out, there's a playlist on screen now that you can go and check out all the previous episodes. There's one missing for November, and you can see on my community post why that is missing. So that's why we're doing a double whammy today to make sure that you're up to date with all your trance arpeggios. Okay, so let's get started. So you can see I'm using the Anna 2 modern pluck, Anna 2 needle pluck, and the Faceplant Antininus pluck. Now, these are all from my packs on the website, so if you want to grab a deal, they should still be on sale at this time, so you can obviously get a copy cheaper. I don't do too many sales, so make the use of that if you need to. Patrons, you've got early access to this video, so you've already seen it, and you can download the MIDI as well, so you don't have to copy it off screen. So if you want to become a patron, any tier gets early access to the videos and the MIDI and presets that are used in the video, but only if I specify they're included in the video intro like this. So the presets are not included with the Patreon download, but the MIDI is, and early access to the video, as well as many other things on there that are not available on my website, and you can just pick them up with your subscription. Okay, so let's jump into this. You can see here we're working in D sharp minor. Now, if you're not familiar with scales and everything like that, you can use the scale assistant in your DAW, set it to D sharp minor, or you can go to scales-chords, link in the description. As always, no affiliation with them, and you can put your notes in and it'll tell you what chord or what scale that you need, but you can also search scales and you can get the notation that is in there. But really easy to remember, it's all of the black keys on here, apart from the F and B. So F and B are in that scale. So it's all black notes and F and B are the only white notes in there. So really easy to remember. So I'm going to show you a little trick here. You can see this is quite slow for an arpeggio, and I'm going to tell you how to make one quite easily. Start with eighth notes, build a melody slowly. So if I play this on the keyboard, I'm just playing eighth notes and it's very slow. Really easy. You can just see it's rocking with this here on the beats with the D sharp, and then you can see these notes are just falling in between, all in eighth notes. Set your grid to eighths and you can see they're all like that. But if we jump out on Cubase, we can use sizing applies time stretch, and we can double the speed of the MIDI clip. So if we half it, we've doubled the speed from 4 bars to 2 bars, and we get this. Much easier to create an idea by making it slower and then speeding it up after. So just a little tip there, but let's get started on this design. So I'm going to make that 4 bars. And let's get rid of that F there. And I'm going to copy this over. So we've got 4 bars there. I'm actually going to make this 8 bars. So all I'm doing is repeating this pattern, and you can see it doesn't quite reach the end because it's not linear. Let's just get this over here so I can just delete the notes that I don't need, and we'll have this. Okay, so we've got the MIDI. You can see it's non-linear. It's sort of everything's in a different position each sort of bar. So if you look at these, let's just look at 2 bars. There's 5 notes in the top section for each of the 2 bars. Apart from this one, there is 6. So you can see it's non-linear. It's not following the same pattern. So it sort of flows through the bars a little bit and makes your sound design choices a little bit more interesting because everything seems to flow nicer. So we're going to start with moving the bass, and I'm going to do this based on every 2 bars. So I'm just going to move this to here. Not that one. Then I'm going to move these to B and these to G. So you can see we're just falling down here, following the notes. So you can see that one is not in the scale because it's orange. So we're going down 1 note, 2 notes, and then we're skipping the A sharp there and going to the G sharp. Okay. And what we're going to do with the top notes, so we're going to actually just move the top notes and leave these middle ones in place. And the next one. But obviously with that bass moving. So I'm going to skip the B for this one, and we're going to double up the C. So you can see C in the bass, C in the top. And then I'm going to go to the D here, and then let's just remember this. Let's go to G sharp there. Let's just try that out. Okay, so that sounds nice, but all those notes are a bit too close. And because we're not going to move these two, I'm going to shift these up to the top G. Let's just see how that works out for us. Just going to try a different note. Okay, we're going to go for B there because that sounds really, really nice. Maybe a variation could go up to that G, but we'd have to probably shift a few things around. But trying to keep this quite simple for you to follow. So you can see we've just created an arpeggio from a single cycle of that arpeggio there. So you can see that we've created a nice arpeggiated sequence, free to use. They don't have to be complicated. Let the sound design complicate it if that makes sense. Choose your sounds wisely for layering. So I've got 3 here already. So let's just copy these down. Not perfect sound design choices, no processing, just straight out of the box for these packs. So let's just I'm just going to highlight everything so I can use the mod wheel for each one. So the first one, we know what it sounds like. So needle. And then we have phase plant doing antininus. So this is a good time to explain why when you listen to the sound pack demos, some of the sounds just sound downright boring or the lackluster energy, and it's not all about creating the perfect sound every time. It's about thinking about layering in mind. Do you need a sharp stab beat sound? Do you need a really soft, full-bodied sound? You've got to think about your layering and splitting that up. Just like you do with a kick, you have an attack, the body, and then the sort of like sub at the end. So you layer those 3 together to create a kick. You do the same with your leads, your plucks, your basses. Everything has to sort of account if you want that depth in your music. So all together with the filter closed, I'll just automate this. See how thin it goes, just taking away the phase plant one. And you can hear the needle adds the attack. So it's not necessarily heard when it opens up with the filters, but it just provides attack for the transition. And then the body from phase plant. So think about your layering, that's what makes it more interesting. And then you can start delving into processing. So if you pick your sounds wisely, where they sound great together, if I just switch to screen 2 here, you can see there is no processing on there. I've just turned the gains down for recording purposes and then just vaguely balanced out how I want the sounds to be layered. That's it. There is no effects. You can see on the inserts, nothing at all on my inserts. So make sure that your sound design is good, or the pack that you've chosen is good. Lots on the Demis Hellen website, so check them out. Black Friday sale still on, but that is the way to move forward with that. So now we can start playing around with adding delay and reverb and all those good things. And I'm just going to use the built-in effects for now, but if you want to use third party, you can do. But most of my packs, especially the newer ones, if we look at these, Most of them will have a macro to turn off effects, so you can put your own in. But if it doesn't, you can just jump in here and you can just turn off hall and delay there, and you'll have a clear sound. But some of them are made in mind that they need them. I'd particularly keep the hall on it. Just helps soften the sound up a little bit. But we have a delay amount control here, so we can increase the amount of delay. So let's turn that down. So I'm going overboard, but let's bring it back down. So you can open that envelope amount a little bit more. So you can make the sound design more interesting rather than the MIDI being more interesting, if you know what I mean. Keep it simple, let everything else do the work. Now, there's a lot of sort of directions that you can go with this. Now, if you look at this, all the MIDI levels are full volume. If you want something that is a little bit more... So, delay reverb, great, makes things sound amazing in some circumstances. But if we open up this MIDI, you can see we've got basically all the MIDI levels set to 100 out of 127, so everything is the same volume. Now, we can override that a little bit if we don't want to draw in all the MIDI, which I do say to do, is we can go into things like the filter and you can use sort of like key mapping. So you can choose to bias higher notes than lower notes with the filter. So the top end of the filter will open up for higher notes, but lower notes, it'll keep it nice and closed. Let's just demonstrate that here. Just make sure it's shut. So it's biasing the top notes more than the actual lower notes. And if you go the opposite way, you can see, obviously, it biases the lower notes rather than the higher notes. So using that sort of key tracking on the filter helps to keep the lower notes a little bit quieter. So velocity plays a big key in this. So let's jump into just one bar of this. And I'll just turn this down as it's playing. So we can make things smooth by accenting them using velocity. So like this at the moment, these top notes are really standing out compared to these two here. This one is sort of like the focus, like you get drawn to it every time it hits. So let's select them. Let's bring these down. Obviously I'm bringing them all down quite linearly, but you can do this how you want and make it to taste. Now we've controlled that top note, we can focus on the whole melody rather than just one point. So let's bring out every second note like this. Let's bring them up to that level. So you can choose what notes you want to be focused and what you don't want to. So it adds character, it adds depth, and it just makes it more unique for your own sort of material. You don't want to just leave all your velocities at one level. And at the same time, don't just move them around at the same level. So all the notes are at the same level at different levels. Make it so it's all sort of unique and do it to taste. Usually when you play it in the keyboard, you'll get a nice variation and you can just sort of tweak it up. So that is my gift to you, is velocity for this episode. You need to change those velocities to make it sound better instead of it just being sort of a powerhouse all the way across from filter closed to filter open. So you can apply that all the way across. I'm not going to do it for this video, but it will be available to do in the MIDI download. So you can do the same with the other two and focus different areas of the arpeggio where you want it to. So it can do the opposite to, say, the modern pluck. So you can say these two are accented, but in the other supporting ones, these three could be accented just to vary it up and obviously give it more depth and character. So with that, that is the first arpeggiated sequence for you, an 8-bar, simple, quick, easy melody, and obviously you can adapt that to how you want it to be. So quickly, we're going to look at a second melody so this video doesn't get too long, and we're going to go over here. We're going to use the same sounds just to keep everything nice and easy, and I'm going to show you one that is from a track. You might actually recognize it when I play it here. Let's just hit record. Be up here. That's all we need there. So kudos to those that might have recognized that pattern. Serious trance fans, let me know in the comments if you know what that track is. I'll let you listen to it again now. Obviously not done in that sound, but it's sort of close. But what I'm really focused on this is taking the rhythm here. So you can see 3 notes in the bass. So what I'm going to do with this is fix all the lengths, so everything is the same. You can see I've got nice velocity. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this note, and I'm going to move this note down, and we've got a pattern for an arpeggio. So it's a really good way to sort of like pick up patterns by playing unique sequences or using unique sequences that you find in MIDI. So with this one, let's just move it over so my large face doesn't cover up what I'm doing. We're going to use the same key, so I'm going to map this up to D sharp like that. And let's do a nice 4-bar melody for this one. I know a lot of people are not a fan of 4-bar arpeggios, but there is a lot of room for 4 bars to be expanded, and that is the idea in most of my videos, is for you to expand those ideas without me inputting everything to sort of influence your style. Now I'm going to go for sort of a rising pattern, very similar to what we did there. Let's just try something like this. This is totally ad hoc, by the way. Right, so the B needs to be a C and maybe that as a D, so it lands exactly where it started. Ooh, so possibly keep the B and the C like that. Okay, I'm liking the sort of the half step there. That works quite nicely. So I think what I'm going to do here is a moving bass like this. Something like that. Nice. So that bass is something that I've been playing just on a keyboard randomly for some demonstrations. So I think that bass formation works well, gives us direction now for the top part. So you can see how my creative workflow moves. So let's try this 1 octave up. I'm going to try an F sharp, 2 F sharps, maybe something like that. Maybe that should go there, maybe. that works really, really, really nice, but maybe not that far down for there. I think we've got the fall at the end there. Okay, so feel free to adapt that. That is working quite nice. So with that bass line there, I would say we can adapt this to make it a little bit more interesting. Because it sort of has a break here. And we can see we've got a gap on that 16th and that 16th. So the second and fourth 16th of that beat. So let's go down here. So there's that space there, basically. So I would say maybe keep the pattern going, but rise this up. So it's sort of leading up to this. It's not how I envisioned that. Maybe turn these down. So it's a little bit simple, but I like the whole idea. Let's just listen to this in context. So if you're seeing this MIDI data, it'll be gone for the MIDI download. It's just recording aftertouch and brightness and stuff, which we're not using in this case. So select all, filter down. So I would choose a different sound design choice for these sounds. They sound okay, but it needs a good sized lead in there. These are just plucks. So I'm going to transpose this down to a different key. So I'm going to try, let's try F sharp minor. So we know this just from the root note, so F sharp, but I'm actually going to transpose it down one octave, so it's lower. Sounds better in F sharp minor. Just one last try. I'm going to do the standard A sharp minor, A minor, should we say. Doesn't have the same as that F sharp. Just out of curiosity, Let's go to the mixer here, and instead of grouping these leads, because it's just a tutorial, I'm going to put the effects on the master out. So attack me in the comments if you want to attack me, but it's not what you should do. Do it on a mixed channel. I'm just going to put some reverb on there. I'm just going to use ROM and delay. I'm going to use Replica XT, I think. So the paid plugins, but just showing you sort of what I use. There we are. Let's just bring it to a level that sounds good. That sounds really nice. So I'm just making this a bit bigger. So original. And let's use some compression. So it's really just to bring out the delay and the reverb, so you can dial them in a lot more gentle, and then you can use compression to sort of squash your sound down a little bit dynamically, but bring out all of that detail from the delay and reverb. So there we are, our second arpeggio. So there we are. If you're a patron, you can just download these MIDIs straight away. Otherwise, follow along on the video, just go back through and copy the notation at the end points where we finish creating and do what you wish with it. And with that said, thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, you know exactly what to do. And if you want to see more of these videos, you know exactly what to do there as well to make sure you see them. So thank you very much for watching. I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Take care.